Hello, everybody. Welcome back again to Talk Football Live. It is match week 9 of the English Premier League. It's my regular co-host Charles here with me, and as you guys might see, we've brought Cincy back for this one. Uh, How are you
Really,
feeling?
really bring winners back. So,
We are feeling good, man. It's been a good week so far, so good, man.
anyway,
Yeah,
It's been a good feeling, man. It's good to be back, winning back to back. I
nice,
can't remember.
nice.
I can't remember what that felt like.
So if you guys missed it, for the first time under Reuben Amorim, Manchester United won their games back to back, meaning they have two wins in a row. Can
Mm-hmm.
you imagine not having experienced that as a fan for what is it, like a year now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man,
it's
Yeah.
deep.
that's
And
tough.
and to add to that, Man U won a game at Anfield, first time in 9 years.
I know.
Since January 2016. So I mean, we talked about it last week. The scale of the task going into that fixture was huge. First of all, they never won back to back, and they won the game before that. So it was like going by recent records, it was
Mhm.
likely that they would lose or draw that game, right?
Yeah.
And also,
Mhm.
they hadn't won at Anfield since 2016, which I mean, not many teams go to Anfield and win, period.
But this is
But when
Man
you're ta-
Facts.
nine
when you're
years is
talking about a period, yeah, a big club, mind you, 9 years, it
come on,
was
Ayo.
a record.
Man U is a big club. They're
I
not acting
mean,
like it right now, but they're a big club.
yeah, they're one of the traditional big clubs.
Exactly.
So we normally talk about fixtures between the big clubs of the weekend, but we don't really have any like that this week. So our main focus this week will actually be just Manchester United in general. We're gonna talk a little about the Man U versus Liverpool win, and then we'll talk about what to expect going into their game against Brighton this weekend. So let's take it away. Cincy, tell us. I want to hear raw emotions, how you felt during the game and after the game.
The man of the hour. Let's go.
Well, the thing is, first of all, because the game was on a Sunday, obviously I was in church, so I didn't even get to watch
Okay.
it. But I was following it closely. And I looked at my phone, I think when it was around 5 minutes into the game, I was like, oh wow, 1-0. Hey, and that's when since I was in church now, I entered into the spirit. I just started bashing. I said, God, do this one for me, do this one. But maybe we scored that early goal. I had a little bit of confidence. Okay, I said, you know what, today might just be our day. Today might just
Mm,
be the day because with football, you can only lose for so long, and it just takes one day for things to
things to
change.
change.
And I kept following the game. I kept following the game closely, and I think towards the 70 something minute, Liverpool scored or they equalized. I checked my phone. I was like, oh wow, 1-1. And if you realize from the last video when I was here, I predicted that the game was. I gave it a 1-1. So even at 1-1, I was okay. I was like, okay, you know what? It's not a loss. It's a positive result. And I was gonna take the 1-1. And only
Right.
for me to open my phone in the 90th minute, I was like, Maguire scored again. I was like, wow. I was like, yes, this is definitely our game. But I think United needed that, man. We needed that uplifting, and we've been going through a rut for some time.
Mm,
And kudos to the team, for being resilient. I know it's a tough time, and first of all, I just want to give kudos to Maguire. Maguire is, and if even if you're in your everyday life, someone like Maguire should inspire you, man. That
hmm
even if you're going through so many struggles in life, you can always use Maguire as just as an example of how to approach things. He has been through it, done
mm.
it to the point that even in the dressing room, Bruno Fernandez even made fun of him. I don't know if you watched the clip in the dressing room, it was like
No, what
Harry
happened?
Maguire. He made that that Harry Maguire meme, and that's to show
Yeah,
that even the players know how
know
much
what's going on.
what was going on. So I was like, so when everybody knew how bad the situation was for him, but the guy kept his head high. He never complained. He never showed his emotions. He just kept putting in the work, and he kept delivering. If you notice, this is not the first time he's been doing. This is like the sixth time he's done something like this. So kudos to
Yeah.
him for being a star player at that very moment and to continue to deliver even at times when people doubted him. And I think that's definitely a testament of the kind of person he is. And now that we've won our second game in a row, like you said, in a year. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Like, it's just
That's a big deal.
eh?
That's a big deal.
I know it's a big deal. That's
The
to show
whole
you,
year.
and that's what people don't understand. Like, if you look at things from a United fan's perspective, you should always pity us. I'm like, how are you coping, man? Your emotions up and down, everything. It's not easy, man. And people don't understand that, man, and what we've been through. So if I see my fans online, chanting and talking and feeling excited, I don't blame them. It's definitely, deserving to them. And I think this is the kind of momentum that we need. And I think this is the kind of momentum that tends to shift, the win for a team like United, and especially winning at Anfield. It wasn't just like an ordinary win. It wasn't like we played Nottingham Forest or Sunderland or something back to back and we won. We won against Liverpool, especially a game where a lot of people probably wrote us off and said, no, we're not winning this game. And a lot of people were confident that there was no way we were going to win. Even me, I had my little bit of my doubt, but again, as a fan, you always have to remain positive. But I think this is definitely going to be a shift in the momentum for United. I see us going into this weekend and trying to capitalize on that. So I think the old United is going to slowly start to fade away because now the boys are excited. They have something positive moving them on. They have a reason to go into that game thinking, we need to capitalize on this momentum. We cannot let this momentum die just like that. So I believe this weekend we are going to see a continuation of what is to come, and I also like the way we played it. So the way we played against Liverpool, it wasn't like, it wasn't an easy victory, but it was a professional win. We got the goal early, which I was, predicting that was what was going to happen. If we can get a goal early, then they stayed resilient. They were very compact. We did not make the common mistakes that we normally make. I didn't see a lot of it, even the fact that, the substitution when he brought in Dogu and we kind of, missed the offside trap, and which is okay, but I think for the most part, and people will say, oh, Liverpool got lucky, or United got lucky that Liverpool hit the pole. I was like, no, if you watch those games, the pole is the only place that ball could go, man. It wasn't like that was to show you
The
how well.
Gakpo shot, right?
Yeah, that was to show you how well they were defending those guys. The pole was the only thing they could hit. It wasn't like, and thank God there was this big save that Lamens made, man. I was like, I know I can bet on my life if that was Onana, that was a goal.
Onana.
I knew that was a goal, man. But
The shot
to
from
have
Isaac, right?
yeah, what is it?
The shot from Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to have that young boy, there playing like a man. I mean, I'm so happy that finally we have a reliable goalkeeper that can do the basics and can make some key saves that we definitely needed. Because if you look at all the mistakes that Onana made, I mean, some of them were unforgiving. And hey, I mean, not to bring the man down, but sometimes I felt like Onana was just going through his spell. He was going through a rough patch, and he couldn't find a way out of it, man. Which was what was kind of concerning for me. I don't know why. Maybe this is a village people thing, I don't know. So, but to have somebody more reliable in the post, and I'm super excited. I'm actually waiting for Martinez to come back, man. I'm hoping that once Martinez comes back, we can push Luke Shaw back to the left wing back position and have Martinez, Maguire, and Delete man the three-man defense. And I think that would be a very, very strong team once it comes back. So I think we are obviously in a very good shape now. And I'm not getting carried away, but you also don't want to not praise a positive result. You also want to continue to encourage and just feel optimistic and not say, oh, I know they will come on Saturday and do no. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they are going to keep pushing forward, moving forward.
I have a question for you since you're talking about staying optimistic, and you mentioned the momentum. You guys have to stay with the momentum. Take what you did on Anfield to the next game. You guys we were talking about it has been a year you did two games, 2 wins back to back.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years you did 3 back to back.
3 years. Wow.
2023 was the last season you did 3 back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think this is the moment?
I think this is the moment. I think at some point you just have to break that jinx, man. At some point, no condition is permanent. I think this is it. If United needs to capitalize on this, we've never been in this situation for a long time. So I think this is the time for us to capture it, figure out ourselves, and start to show our identity on the field and show who we really are, and let people know that this is United. We are back, and we are, at least now people should start thinking about how they approach us, and kudos to Amorim, because it was very, very persistent. Even despite, even me too, I was not a big fan of his 3-4-3, but it seems like he's trying to find a way around it to make it work. And sometimes consistency definitely pays off. So kudos to him for being stubborn, despite the fact that the entire world wanted him to change his formation.
Mm-hmm.
And only God knows if he had changed it, then that means he's going to be starting from scratch again and trying to figure out something. So I think we are definitely in a good place, compared to every other season.
There's another interesting stat that actually stacks up against that, along with what Charles said, which is Brighton have won their last 3 visits to Old Trafford.
Yes, that is true. That is true, and which is why.
So just similar to the Liverpool game, it's like all the stats are just stacking up at the moment, and there's a lot of recent history to overcome.
Yes, and I think this is a good time for us to even play Brighton, because Brighton is definitely not a small team. They've always been a challenge to United, which I don't know why. I've always found that very, very amusing that we can't beat Brighton, but beating Brighton, we definitely had more sauce to our swagger, man. So
more sauce to your soup.
Yeah, to the soup. Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that challenge. It's not going to be an easy game, obviously, but if we continue to play the way we want to play, stay compact, less mistakes, and just let the boys work with one another. There's still a little bit of thing that still needs to come to play for us to really, really be where we need to be. I still think there are some lapses there, but I know as we continue to play well, as we continue to win games, the confidence will come. Then obviously the chemistry would also follow as well.
So seriously, you mentioned Amorim formation 3-4-3. He's sticking to it, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of his critics, or I've always been one of the critics of. I'm a fan of coaches who have plan A, B, C, D, whatever. When A doesn't work, switch to B. When B doesn't work, switch to C. I'm a fan of people who prioritize results over formation, results over style of play, results over all that good stuff. 2 games in, you've won 2 games. Are you confidently saying now that you are okay with Amorim sticking with his 3-4-3, regardless of what happens, or do you need a few more wins to say that?
That's a very good question. I think obviously we need a few more wins to say, okay, you know what,
How
maybe
many?
yes. I would say at least we need to win at least maybe another 5, 6, 7, 8 games, for me to say, okay, maybe this is working. But this is the thing about football. In football, you have to be able to make smart tactical decisions during the game, because you never know when you need to make a move, So it's always good to have your base formation, your go-to formation, but always be able to adjust, when time comes. So, but if you can't make the right adjustment and you're just trying to force the same thing, especially when it's not working, then that's when it just starts to show that you don't necessarily have a plan B and you are just not a top-notch coach, because a good coach should be able to make tactical adjustments that can effectively change his game. He must be able to show that, oh, you know what, I know what I'm doing. But if you only have one game plan, it just shows that you're lazy and you're not trying to stress yourself too much, and you're just hoping that this thing that you have is just going to work for you. But if you're on the days when it doesn't work, then how do you adjust? So that's going to be. I mean, you can still keep the same formation, but how do you find the right mix of players? You know what I mean? Look at this game, for example. He played Mount, which was for me was shocking. And I'm sure he has reasons for not playing Sesko, And I think Sesko, spent a lot of money on him, so he still needs to come in and find a way how he's going to, make him become more and more, efficient and consistent as well.
So I'm assuming you've now seen the highlights, right? Because I think you said you didn't watch the game live. Is
Yeah.
there anything you've seen from United these past two games that maybe tells you that something has switched? I've noticed something, and I'll come back to that. I think you kind of mentioned it, but I want to pose that question to you directly. Have you seen anything that has switched or changed that
One
makes
thing
you feel like
one thing
okay,
I
good are
noticed,
coming?
yeah, one thing I noticed was the way we pretty much positioned ourselves. We're very resilient in the defense. Like I said, I saw less mistakes. I saw a team that is now beginning to play like they know what they are doing. So I think for me that was definitely a plus. But I still think the attack still needs a little bit of tweaking.
Mm,
It seems like Bruno is always going to play that deep role, so there's
Mhm.
nothing we can do about it. And he's always going to want to have a better front row. But one player that did give me confidence that I think eventually is going to come out of his shell is Cunha. I think Cunha is very, very skillful, is very good with the ball. He gave Liverpool a lot of problems. There were points in the game, moments in the game where they could barely hold him and people were trying to figure out what was going on. So I think
And I think it's him that replaced Sesko, not Mount.
yeah, yeah, no mount. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I
Because of the
think
movement, basically.
yeah, so I think he is going to be the difference maker eventually. I think he's still trying to get his first goal. Once he gets that first goal, I think he's just going to go from there. And having him on the team is definitely going to be a plus for us. But in general, I think the defense again needs to continue to play well. So I need to see how the defense is going to play against Brighton as well. I want to see that resilience. I want to see that compatibility. I want to see that chemistry. I want to see that ability to not just give away cheap goals and also force the opposition to really work for their goal. Like, you just can't come in and just score like that. I need you to,
mm,
even if you're going to score me, it has to be okay. I'll be like, you know what, yes, you deserve that goal, man. Not just something cheap, that like,
yeah.
come on, you guys would have done better. Yeah.
So I think what I've noticed, very simple change really, was just as you mentioned, goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lamens, right? It's funny because when he was signed, everyone was like, why is Man U signing another keeper? They had Onana, you guys bought him by India, and now you signed another keeper. There were, all these videos that went viral about him like flopping and flapping and like messing up, and they're like, this is the new joker that Man U have brought. But it seems like for Amorim, he values just having someone who is a shot stopper in goal, and he's less about a lot of teams are going towards keepers who can use their feet these days, and it seems like Amorim is just like, I just need a keeper who can catch the ball from the net,
Yeah.
who can
Yeah.
save and prevent goals.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really noticed, his ball playing ability,
Mhm.
but he's been very assured in goal. He seems very calm, and his introduction to the team has coincided with you guys actually winning. The two games he started are actually the two games that you guys have won,
One. Yeah.
which is
Yes.
interesting.
Mhm.
But going into this game against Brighton, because you mentioned about, you seem to struggle against Brighton, like you said, you didn't notice any mistakes in defense. Brighton actually are leading the league in terms of forced turnovers, meaning the amount of times they force a team to give up the ball in their defensive half, 104. And so that's something that I think, man, you are going to need to guard against, coming into this game.
Mhm.
Do you see any other tweaks to the lineup to maybe counteract the threat that Brighton might pose specifically, or you're expecting much of the same lineup? I think you talked about maybe Sesko coming in. Do you think anyone drops, or are we keeping Mount and Buemo, Cunha, Trident up front?
Obviously, we're not going to drop Mbeumo. Mbeumo is our best player, right now. It's the only
Right.
one that I'm almost certain that, if he has his chances, definitely going to bury it. I don't think the lineup will change much, but if it does change, I expect, Shesko to be the one that comes in for Mount. I hope for Mount and not
Mm,
Cunha. I think I'd rather have Cunha in that game. And with the way Brighton is going to play, I think we are most likely going to hit them on the counter a few
mm.
times. And I think once, if you can hit them on the counter a few times, give them one or two counter punches, I think they would have to think about their approach. It's just like you in a boxing fight. If you go in aggressive and your opponent
Yeah.
or two counter uppercuts, you will calm down. So I think if you can give them that counter punch, maybe even if you don't score, but they see that okay, there's a potential for these guys to hit us here, I think they would calm down and try to reevaluate their approach during the game. And I think that's where United should approach this game. They should, we should try and keep it simple, keep it compact. Concentration is always going to be key. We have to be very, very, very at high alert, making sure that those forced errors are not happening. Because once they smell blood, a team like Brighton, once they smell blood, they would just like a shark, they would try to hit you alive, man. But if you can contain them, and say, okay, no, nothing is happening today, eventually they would have to adjust during the game. And I think I'm hoping that's the way the game would go on Saturday. I believe you're playing on Saturday.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts, Charles, because a player that you like plays for Brighton, and it was a player that I think it was you, right, who was suggesting that Man U needed that player. Unfortunately, he's still at Brighton. That player is Carlos Baleba, right? How do you think Brighton will fare in this game? Especially, I think there were rumors in the media, so it's like there was the talk about it. How do you think Baleba comes into this game, quote unquote, maybe having something to prove against Man U? They've got their old boy Danny Welbeck, who tends to score against Man U in this game as well. Tell me, just for a few, seconds, minutes, what you think about Brighton coming into this game.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier about Brighton having forced presses or forced counter presses, the highest in the league. The midfield of Man U, in my opinion, with the likes of Casemiro, Bruno dropping back, which seems to be a weaker position for him, in my opinion, is where Man U lacks. They've tried Ugarte, Casemiro comes in there. They've tried a couple of people there, but I don't think anyone has really, really solved that DM solid midfield holding position for Man U. What's this guy's name now? I can't remember. Casemiro, who I mentioned earlier. Casemiro is not the we used to know. Yeah, he's not the Casemiro we used to know. So there's a problem in there, and that's why I kept mentioning Baleba in the summer. I think if they had gotten Baleba, I think they would have solidified that midfield. Because me personally, I think the midfield is the spine of the team, is the brain box of the team. If the midfield is solid, now of course, if the wingers are lacking, you would see it clearly. If the midfield is lacking, even if you see it, fixing it within the game is quite difficult. You're probably gonna plug and play until you find someone who will do the job, and it may be difficult. The game may be over before then. If it's the wingers, if it's the goalkeeper, you can see and just put in a man there. There are ways around it, but the midfield is a little more complicated, and I think that's where Man U is weak, Brighton is strong, and I think that's where will be the deciding factor. Now, Casemiro may step up. Ugarte may step up. Bruno Fernandes may drop back as he should and step up. We can't predict what's going to happen with Man U. But on paper, I think that's where Man U is going to struggle. So, I mean, we're talking about the question about Baleba. How do I think he's going to come in prove to Man U? I don't think he needs to prove anything. I think Man U wanted him in summer, and I think they will still want him. Now, he may just play his game and prove to them that they really do need him as soon as possible. But I think that game can go either way. Will Man U break the Brighton record? You mentioned Welbeck also. Welbeck seems to be he's on his A game at the moment. So I think it's going to be a tough game for Man U. I wouldn't even predict Man U is going to lose or draw or whatever, or even win. I don't know yet. But I think it's going to be a tough game for Man U. If they can really solidify the midfield, whichever way they can, I think it will. I mean, there are times when, take Chelsea for instance, as important as midfield is, the likes of Reece James comes into the midfield to play. Because depending on your facing, this is how important the midfield is. If you don't secure the midfield, I think most times the game is lost. Now you can win other aspects with counters and things like that. Now, talking about counters, Man U can use that against Brighton, but if Brighton really, really steps up and hold their line, it may be very, very difficult for Man U to do so. So it will be very, very interesting to see. I'm not a coach, but I'll look forward to what Amorim as leaves. And of course, Man U have the wing back style of play, so that can be very helpful for them. I think that may be where their own strength is to counter the weakness in the midfield.
Okay. And with that, let's jump into predictions for the week. We're gonna see how we're doing with week 9.
Do we have to predict Man U's game too?
Oh yeah, of course, of course. So we'll come to that. The first game of the weekend is actually Friday this week. So Leeds United faces up against West Ham.
I have to go and set my team.
Your fantasy team, right?
That's the team.
Um, two relegation strugglers. Cynthia, I'll start with you on this one. Your thoughts on Leeds versus West Ham?
That's a tricky one. Who's the new West Ham coach again? That's
Nuno Espirito Santo.
Okay. So
They've moved around so much.
yeah, I've lost count of who their manager is, man. Yeah, I think this one is going to be a tough call, but I want to say West Ham, they have a good coach with good experience, so I want to give them this one. It's not going to be easy, but at least it's very, 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 very energetic. But I think West Ham has the advantage on this one. I would say 2-1 West Ham.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, West Ham are struggling at the moment. I think they're winless in their last 6 or so. Straight losses. But Charles, you get your team.
Thank God.
Chelsea Sunderland.
Counter my prediction. Chelsea, we're flying high right now. I hope we keep flying. Sunderland is a tough team. I think they're right beneath us on the table, if I'm not mistaken. Exactly same points. I think they may be beneath us go for alphabetical order, actually. Am I right?
14 points.
Yeah, I
think
the
difference is the only difference.
Same, yep. So it's gonna be a crazy game. And they're in form. I think they dropped form. They lost their last game, if I'm mistaken.
No, right? they won the last game.
They lost one before that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it's Spurs I'm looking at. But anyways, long story short, I think it's gonna be a very tough game. But I also think because of the Champions League game, Chelsea rested a lot of players. That will work in our favor. So I am expecting a win in this game.
Okay.
And it's Stamford Bridge. We're building a fortress here.
All right. I'll take Newcastle against Fulham. I think the tough run for Newcastle will continue. I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw for this game.
Unfortunately.
All right. And since you get your team this week as well, tell us what you think. But I'll also ask you, Charles. Man U versus Brighton.
I was trying to avoid it.
Man U Brighton, again, since we're coming off a back-to-back win, playing back in Old Trafford, I can predict a 2-0 on this one for United. I think United will want to keep that momentum. They will want to continue to stay disciplined. And, they will want to take advantage of that momentum that they have right now. So I think United should win this one 2-0.
The interesting thing is between Man City in second and Man U all the way in ninth, there's actually 3 points. So the table is very tight. A win could see you guys suddenly get into the title race.
Yeah, this is about to be a crazy season, man.
Yeah,
that's not about to run away with it, Abby.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't know. But I mean, right now they are looking like the team to beat, man.
Yeah.
They don't concede. That's one thing.
Yeah.
That I'm not even gonna lie. That the fact that they don't concede is already an advantage for them. And it reminds me of, I was standing in front of mine. So it reminds me of when United had Prime, Vidic, and Ferdinand. Yeah, we used to really concede, even if it's 1-0. There was a time we won like 1-0, 10 games in a row. Like it was like almost 10 games, like 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And I kind of have that similar vibe from Arsenal, man, which is always a good thing. If you can defend, then you definitely have a chance at the championship.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's too early though. What I'm happy about though is that we had a very tough start, right? We've played City, we've played Newcastle, we've played Liverpool. We've played some really tough games at tough grounds, and we've come through that. Right now, on paper, relatively easier, right? But we have a good foundation to build on, going forward.
Yeah.
I think this game will be a 2-2 draw. Your thought, Charles?
I totally agree. I think, the momentum is there, but your momentum is going to prevent you from losing. But I don't know if you're going to get 3 points because Brighton. We mentioned Welbeck earlier. The guy is on form and he knows how to score against Man U, and I think he's going to get at least 1 goal. So if you have
Yeah.
him in your FPL, you know what to do. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then still with you, Charles. Brentford, Liverpool.
Slot is back. A very, very tough game. Tough because not just because of the opponent, because what Liverpool is going through right now. And yeah, they won their Champions League
It won
game
convincingly today.
convincingly. Yes, they did. They
And
did.
I looked at the lineup. I actually messaged Cincy when the game was starting. I was like, I hope Slot doesn't figure it out, but today's lineup looked really strong.
Very
Yeah.
strong.
Uh, I,
Yeah.
I don't know why he's dropped Ekitike in the last few games. I
Mhm.
like that guy has been immense for them. Like,
Yup.
so
Yup.
it made no. So when I saw him in the lineup, I'm like, okay, you still want to fit Isak in there, but at least you've managed to bring Ekitike back
Yeah.
in. So let's
So
see. I don't
yeah,
know how long it will work though that you're dropping Salah to the bench. It's going
yeah.
to be a
I
matter
think
of
I think
time before
I think it's not
that
going
Jesse
good.
Romero. Did he?
Yeah,
Not going
yeah,
to be.
yeah, going good.
Mm.
He had like some growing problems. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play this weekend.
So that may work in their favor. Bring
Yeah.
Salah back, Ekitike up front. Regardless, though, I think they'll win this game. It's going to be tough for them, but
Mhm.
these guys, the thing is, Slot can just go back to the guys that played last year and then bring on the new guys as subs. Not all like play the basic team that played last year with replacements of maybe
Gakpo
even
on the left.
No, Gakpo was on the left as usual, Salah on the right. Of course, Ekitike or Isak will play up front, preferably Ekitike because Isak is
They
still.
had Diaz last season. They've lost Diaz. So that's
I know,
why Gakpo is now starting.
Mhm.
but the thing about playing the team is the likes of Andy Robertson, I think, should come back.
Mm.
Frimpong also was like I've not seen Frimpong on the right, so I can't really say much about him. So Bosley plays there, I really don't care. But their midfield of the guys that played last year, like the Gravenberg, Soboslai, and McAllister, West comes from the bench, let them those guys play and then bring in the new guys from the bench until they really, really understand the system. But
Yeah.
that's by the way. I give it to Liverpool. I think they'll build off UCL momentum.
Okay. And I get my team, Arsenal against Crystal
You
Palace.
sure you don't give it to me?
Everybody's getting their teams today. Somehow the luck of the draw means it's lined up perfectly. This one is going to be a tough game just because of the form Crystal Palace have been showing
Yeah.
recently. I mean, Mateta is on fire. Who was it that they played the last game? I think it was Brentford, right? Uh, it
No,
was a
no,
Three.
3-3
Beaumont.
draw.
Beaumont.
No, it
Bournemouth. That's
was
who it was. It
Bournemouth.
was
Yeah.
Bournemouth.
Yeah.
3-3 draw. They went down 2-0 at halftime. And then they came back into it to finish that game 3-3.
They
And
could
they
have
could even
actually
have won it
they
at
could
the
have
end.
won actually. They could have
They could
won.
have won that game at the end. Mateta
Yeah,
missed
Matan missed, yeah,
the easiest chance he had in the game
the
Yeah.
entire
um,
game.
to score. What I think we have going for us though is, like you said, Cincy, this Arsenal team don't concede.
Yep.
And I think this is a game where Gyökeres will return to scoring as well in the Premier League. I don't expect Mateta will score in this game. So I'm going for something like a 3-1 win in this game or a 2-0 win, mostly because Arsenal will dominate. And I think Crystal Palace will find it hard to break us down, especially if they're conceding goals like they decided to do against Bournemouth.
Fair.
I think Arsenal will pose a similar threat, and Arsenal at the moment don't concede with that double pivot of Zubimendi and Rice sitting in front of Gabriel and what's his
Saliba.
name?
Yeah.
Saliba. And what I love about Gyökeres, I just want to take a minute to talk about Gyökeres. Um, man, for me, it goes beyond the goals. Like for me, he wasn't my preferred striker this summer. I wanted Osimhen. Um, Osimhen would have been my pick if I was the one who was deciding. Which is actually because of what Gyökeres brings to this team. It's the fact that defenders don't get any chance to settle. Like he doesn't really give. I don't know how he does it, how he can run that much, that consistently. But he doesn't give defenders time to breathe. And so what ends up happening is teams are trying to settle. They finally get possession back because Arsenal will dominate possession. They finally get the ball back, and they're trying to settle into a rhythm. And there's Gyökeres chasing at you, and so they end up trying to send the ball quicker than they would anticipate. They would have preferred, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ball comes back to
Yeah.
Arsenal. So for me, that's actually the biggest thing he has brought to the team is in destabilizing teams and not giving them a chance to settle to get the ball, which is something Osimhen is also very good at. Osimhen will hassle defenders. That's what Osimhen
Let me
does.
ask you,
I
what is your last
yeah.
3 EPL scorelines?
They've been 0. I know the opponents didn't score.
1-0. 1-0 is the last one.
Yeah, it was 1-0 against Fulham.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, who did we play?
Get way to pull it up.
Yep. Yeah. Let me look that up actually.
Since you can predict Aston Villa Man City while he's pulling it up.
Oh, nah, don't worry. I already know where that one is going.
I think it's in the preview. 2-0 win against West Ham. 2-1 win against Newcastle.
Okay.
I don't like to I always back my team, right? And I always know we'll do well. But this game actually showed me that the team is probably ready to win the league this season. This game was a pivotal game for Arsenal this season. Again, Man City are in the race, so it's hard to say what's going to happen. But if we win it, this game, I will come back to this game.
Okay.
As long as there's corner, don't worry, there's hope.
Set piece FC at it. As I said, comment today, you guys just wait. Once we figure out throw-ins, is over.
I know, right?
That's another 5 years.
We have those corners down. Corner is like a penalty.
It's like a
figure out throw-ins. Once we figure out
another corner, come on. I think they've got like 8 or 9 corners this year. Ridiculous.
It is.
All right, Cincy, Villa, Man City.
This is going to be a tricky game for City, but I think they will come out on top. For me, I think City is back. Haaland is back to form and is on Ballon d'Or form right now, man. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game for Aston Villa, but I can see City winning this one, 2-1 or 3-1.
Fair.
Okay. Bournemouth Forest.
Has Sean Dyche resumed work?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
He's the new manager. Yep.
So new coach bounce. New coach bounce versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth that is scoring 3 goals against Crystal Palace.
Steady. Bournemouth is doing things.
They're doing things. They're very high on the table, right? And the problem is,
those who missed it, they're third.
Say that again.
Yeah,
I said for those who have missed it, they're third in the league.
Number 3, man.
Yep, above Liverpool. But they're only above Liverpool based on alphabetical order, though, because they have the same goal difference.
Yes, but they don't lose. They've only lost 1 game this season. Liverpool have lost 3.
Fair. Anyways, new coach bounce will not work this time. Although some guys defensively, I will give it to Bournemouth. Just to cut the long story short, I will give it to Bournemouth.
It's too early. It's too early
for I was asking if he has resumed work. Because if he hasn't resumed, then it won't be new coach bounce.
Maybe he was playing Wolverhampton or Burnley. Then we can give him that.
Yeah, exactly.
The
form Bournemouth is on right now.
Yeah, he's playing a very good team right now.
Yeah.
All right. On to Wolves Burnley. As I commented in the group chat today, Wolves are not participating in this year's Premier League, so I'm gonna just go ahead and give this to Burnley. I think everybody else is fighting for avoiding relegation and title. Like everybody's trying. Like we said, right, between 2nd and 9th is 3 points. Mm-hmm. Wolves have not yet started the season, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give this to Burnley.
They're still there. They've lost too many key players. So
is that even it? They lost who? Cunha.
They lost Cunha and they lost the left back.
Who's that?
Ed Nuri.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ed Nuri went to.
They lost.
Those were 2 key players for them.
Yeah, those were 2 key players for them last year, man. So Yeah.
Fairs. All right, last game of the weekend: Everton against Tottenham. Cincy.
I think this game is going to show me who Tottenham is, who they are
Mm.
really. If they lose this game, then I'm going to start having my doubts about them. So they really need to win this game to prove their credentials once again in the
But
Premiership.
why though?
Because I mean, they started well and now they're like sixth now. They should be the one in that position. Beaumont is, and but if they lose to Everton, then I will start having my doubts
Yeah,
about
the
them.
crazy part is as you showed earlier, whoever loses between second to slide down a
To
little bit.
ninth. Yep, to ninth.
So you can drop from third to ninth.
Yeah,
Yep,
Jesus.
yep.
yeah,
In
yeah,
fact,
yeah,
to 10th because there's 3 points between 11th place and third place.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah. So it's a very tight.
So
It's
this
still
weekend
very
they
tight.
do not lose weekend, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Because of course, after this weekend result, this table will reshape itself. It won't be this
Very
close.
much.
Because some
Yeah.
people are facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man U is facing Brighton and they're right above
So
each other.
Arsenal
Yeah.
plays Palace, for example, right? It
Yeah.
could there's currently a 6 point gap, right? That gap could go to 9 points, and then you actually start to see some separation in the table.
Mm-hmm.
But if Palace
If Arsenal
wins,
win. If Palace wins, all of a sudden they're 3 points behind Arsenal. So it's very close. Every game is like a 6 pointer these days.
Yeah.
yeah, this is wild.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. But I think I can see that game going to a draw. It's very hard to call, but
You mean
but if,
Arsenal Palace?
No,
no, the
but
Spurs, the
to
Spurs about
Everton
thing, I
Tottenham.
can see
Oh,
a draw
okay.
written over it. But if Spurs lose that game, then I'm going to start having my doubts about them. I would be like they are just once again pretenders.
Yeah.
I feel it's too early to have doubts about them though.
And
I
there's
mean,
a time change this weekend. So for if people are tracking, this is how I know that England does their time shift for the fall. They fall
mm,
back. So this game
because
is
of
usually at 10:30 for me. It's now at 11:30.
okay,
So
makes
number
sense.
130 for me. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts before we close it out? As always, good having you guys on here. Nice talking football.
No further thoughts from me. I think it's gonna be another interesting weekend. It's gonna be good to watch football with some optimistic mind once again.
The emotions on your face is like, man, I just hope my team can continue this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope they can continue. I think they will continue. Honestly, I think United know what is at stake now, and I think Reuben Amorim will definitely want to hammer on that and capitalize on it, man. So, and we have players like Maguire in the team that obviously they've been there, done that, so they would obviously be hammering that message to the players so that, hey, listen, this is not the time for us to sit back
Start off.
and let this sleep. Let's take advantage of this run, man. So yeah. And if United wins, then it even makes the league even more
Oh,
interesting.
look at you.
It makes the league more interesting. The
this
world is
this
the
this
world,
is
the
the
world,
weekend no
the,
one should
the,
drop
the
point.
world the world needs United back, man. I mean, I was telling my friend
I
that
don't know
Nah,
about the
I'm
world
good.
though.
I'm good with them being
I'm
where they
good
are.
with
yeah,
United.
I
Personally,
was telling my friend that, that I don't even know the rules of Champions League. I don't know what happens that's because I've not been paying attention to it for the past 2 years, man. I'm like, I actually have no
We,
idea.
we understand.
I was like, I have no clue. If you win this, what happens? So I was asking my friend, what actually happens? How do you guys? So, yeah. So with the world needs United back, man.
I mean, it's interesting. United can be back in top 4 this weekend.
I
Top 6.
know
could
it
be.
can be. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
good to see.
This is a weekend where no one should lose. Yeah.
yeah. Speaking
It's
of, we should do a segment where we break down how the Champions League works for
We
new
should.
for folks because this is the second season where the
For
format
Manchester
has
United,
changed.
we do it for
For
Manchester
Man U fans, especially,
yeah.
especially if they're back in the top four, like, okay, this is what next season could look like for you guys.
This is this is Champions League 101.
United.
Understand how it works.
Yep.
Yeah. All
Mhm.
right, guys. Great having you as always. Till next
All
time, see you in match week 10.
All right.
right.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.